One of the analogies that Abraham will often use when people are asking about kind of the where's my stuff question, maybe it's not an analogy, but Abraham will say, you want it to come in a nice, easy flow, like you wouldn't want all the food you're going to eat for the rest of your life to show up at your doorstep or on your plate today.
Just enough to keep me interested now. Interested and engaged and joyful now. That's the flow I want.
Right. You also tell the story about Jerry, who said, I don't have any problem with money as long as I have more than I can spend.
As long as I have all that I can spend. He never said more.
But that seems like sort of a contradictory. Can you flesh that out?
In and out. Well, what he meant was in and out, in and out, in and out. It doesn't have to pile up for future use because I have access to everything that I need right here and now, here and now, here and now. All the air I need, all the food I need, all the clarity I need, all the dollars I need, all the friends I need, all the conversation I need, all the work I need, all the things that I need to focus upon. Whatever I'm wanting to make this a meaningful, engaged moment. That's all I need.
So his desire wasn't bigger, his allowing was bigger. Is that correct?
Give us more about your question.
Well, so lots of people come and talk to Abraham about the where's my stuff, generally speaking, and Jerry kind of got it. Well, I mean, as much money as I can spend or whatever it was that he wanted to. So was he in a better place of allowing that he could have all the money he could spend when lots of people are just kind of eking by on a little flow of dollars?
Well, certainly. But how much money can someone spend? In other words, your capacity to spend improves with time.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's your capacity for engaging in any kind of energy improves with time. The thing that shuts down the flow is an inconsistent alignment with it. And what we said that when we came back, we would talk about momentum, and this is the perfect opportunity to do that, because when you think about what you want, but you notice the absence of it, you stop the momentum. Mm-hmm. Or better said, you get momentum going that way, and you get momentum going that way, and you get momentum going that way, and you get momentum going that way.
Right.
But when you no longer are getting momentum going in opposition to what you want, the momentum that you've already got going, because of law of attraction, is self-perpetuating. And this is the thing, this is why vibrational momentum is a conversation that we want to have with all of you. Because we want you to understand that there is already a vibrational momentum going. Your well-being momentum is already well underway, you see. And when you stop doing that thing you do that slows that well-being momentum, that momentum is really quick to pick up. So when you think about what you want and then you think about its opposite, you slow it down, but your emotional indicators let you know that you're doing that. So then if you go more general and you reach for a general feeling that feels better, then you stop poking, someone talked about a stick in a bicycle wheel that just slows it down. Right. You take the stick out of the wheel and then the wheel moves more freely and the momentum ensues and law of attraction then gets a hold on it and then more and more and more things come. What humans misunderstand most about creation, because you are material oriented, and that's just fine because everything that is here in material form is spiritually based. Everything that you see is. But because you are manifestation oriented, you tend to mess up your vibrational momentum. It's what we were saying earlier, by looking at the what is, which sometimes is the opposite of what's in the vortex and what you're really wanting.
Right.
Let's see if we can find a good approach to this, because the subject of momentum is the subject that is ready to be explored with more definition by those of you who've been listening to us for a while who are understanding deliberate creation. So we'll start in a basic place. You are offering vibration whether you know that you are or not. That's what we call creation by default. But when you offer a vibration deliberately, which is to say when you think a thought deliberately, that's what we call deliberate creation. When you direct your thoughts based upon how they feel, now you can control momentum. If you say, I want to feel good and I would like this amount of money and I would like this relationship, even with this person, and I would like this bodily condition, and I would like to live in this house. In other words, you've been putting all of those things in your vortex. So as you say, I seek these things, and I believe that these things are underway. Now you encourage the momentum. You don't slow it. When you say, things are working out for me, you encourage the momentum. When you say, I'm living a good life, you encourage the momentum. When you say, look at that beautiful sunset, or look at that beautiful child, or look at that beautiful healthy animal, you encourage that momentum. When you say, look at that poor sick animal, you thwart the momentum. When you say, I don't have enough money, you thwart the momentum. You slow it down. And you can tell when you're doing the thwarting because you feel a diminishment in your solar plexus. Your emotions let you know. So if we can convince you that feeling good allows the momentum, allows the natural momentum. Now, how did the momentum get started? You knew what you didn't want. You knew what you did want. That you sent off a rocket of desire. Momentum. What continued the momentum? We know what you want. We agree with it. We stand there focusing upon it. We add to the momentum of it. The momentum of well-being is the most powerful force in the universe. In fact, it is the only force in the universe. There is no source of darkness. There is only a source of light. But when the light is disallowed, then you find yourself in darkness. You don't look for the dark switch when you come into a room. You can turn a resistor which will resist the light. So there is no contradictory momentum. There is no contradictory momentum to what you are wanting. There is just the slowing of the natural momentum by offering a contradictory thought. Now, let's approach that in terms of physics, because that sounds different than what we just said. We said the momentum this way, or there's momentum this way. Well, every thought that you think is momentum. So if you are thinking a thought about your inappropriateness, or if you're thinking a thought about your misfortune, or if you're thinking a thought about someone else's misfortune, then that thought has a vibration, and that thought begins to gather other thoughts to it. So Abraham, that sounds like there can be a momentum to unwanted things, as there can be a momentum to wanted things. We acknowledge that, but we want you to get these momentums into proper perspective. This source energy from which you come is a momentum and a force that is indescribable in relationship to the puny momentum that you can get going as you worry about unwanted things. In other words, when you worry about something unwanted, all you do is put a stick in your own spokes and slow your own momentum, but you don't keep the earth from spinning in its orbit. You don't keep the plants from continuing to re-nurture. You don't keep babies from continuing to be born. You don't stop the well-being. You just prevent your participation temporarily in the well-being, you see. So when we talk about momentum, we want you to begin to feel this huge momentum of well-being. And when you try just a little bit, that stream will sweep you and it will carry you. And you know it. You find yourself in these moments where you've been in high good humor for a while. Sometimes it's the influence of visiting with a friend. Sometimes it's because you've been in a group environment. Sometimes it's because you've sat in a gathering like this and you've listened to us speak to you of the perfection of that which you are. And as you get that sort of momentum going, and it's active in your vibration for just a little while, meaning the other is not active in your vibration for just a little while, you see the evidence of that positive momentum, you see. Right. So someone like Jerry did not care about things. Esther has hired someone who's going to come and help her with some property management, because she finds herself with more things to tend to than she has time or desire to tend to. So she was making a list of the properties, and she was making a list, sort of taking an inventory of the vehicles and the equipment and the buildings. And as she began writing, she discovered to her amazement that there are 19 buildings on the Abraham Hicks property. And so for a moment this morning, she said to Jerry, "What were you thinking?" What were you thinking? And then she remembered what he was thinking. This is fun. And this is employment for Mike and his crew. And this is This is something to give my attention to. And this is something that fills in. This is an exercise of understanding creation. This is an opportunity to focus and flow and watch what happens. This is an opportunity to watch manifestations fill in around thought. This is what we have been born to do. We are born to think and watch the actualization that comes in around our thought. This is not just the basis of economy. This is the basis of life experience. This is the reason that we exist. Now, it was interesting to Esther because Jerry did not care about material objects. He had very few clothes that he cared about because he liked simplicity. He didn't have any jewelry at all because he did not care about it. But what he really liked was life experience. What he really liked was engaging in a conversation. What he really liked was watching the universe respond to his thought. What he really liked was watching the actualization of all things that came into play as he would focus. What he really liked was discovering what a pure thought was. What he really liked was understanding his own personal resistance. What he really liked was dealing with his own personal resistance and getting it out of the way. What he really liked was the inevitability of the ongoing eternal life that he was living, you see. What he really liked was life providing a question to him that was fervent enough that it got him pitched in a place that he could hear the answer, because he knew that without life experience that posed the question, that he could not hear the answer. What he liked was being of service to others. What he liked was being of value to those who could find the light that he was or not, you see. And so everything that we're talking about is the same thing, isn't it? Whether we're talking about being the light, whether we're talking about economy, whether we're talking about energy, whether we're talking about focus. But none of it makes any difference to any of you if it doesn't move you in the way you feel. Because if it isn't for the joy that you discover in the alignment, then there really isn't anything, you see. So Jerry, through his life experience, and Esther to a large extent too, came to realize that as we have been speaking right from the beginning, from the first weeks that they were interacting with us, that the basis of your life is freedom. You are so free you can choose bondage. You can choose a thought that feels good, or you can choose a thought that doesn't feel good. You can choose to be in the flow of the stream of who you are, or you can pinch yourself off temporarily. But you are free to make that choice, and no one else can make that choice for you. That is ultimate freedom. The basis of your life is absolute freedom. And the result of this life is expansion. You cannot exist and you can't cease to exist. So you cannot exist and you can't cease to exist without expansion being the natural result of your existence. But if you understand that the purpose of your life is joy, the purpose of your life is to ascertain where you stand, get a bead on it, and compare it to who you really are and how you really feel. If you will let the purpose of your life be that joy, then you will guide yourself thought by thought, emotion by emotion, to the furthest most expansion that is you. You will experience then the freedom that you can't get away from and the expansion that you can't get away from. But you experience it in the joy, which is your choice, you see. So that's what we've been talking about all day, every day, for those of you who are willing to come and play with us. And there are endless ways that you carve out in order to express yourselves in this physical experience.